Well, that was fast. They fired Jonathan Smith at 3 p.m. and Pat Fitzgerald, already the rumored guy, basically at 3:45. So he is the next guy. But Maxwell, is he a guy? Maybe.
We'll find out.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Spartan friends, Spartan family, that's right. You thought you could escape my voice. That's right. We're doing our third show here in 24 hours because it has been a robust news cycle here in East Lansing. Guys, thanks a lot for tuning into all this news right here at Locked On Spartans, part of the #1 ranked Locked On Podcast Network. And hey, guys, please rate, review, subscribe, and also rejoice in the fact that it's not just going to be me blabbing on and on and on again just by myself. No. We have dragged them back on this show for the first time in a long time. Mm-hmm. It is Maxwell Klitsky. I cannot be more excited for this conversation because Maxwell, we had a hunch that maybe Pat Fitzgerald would be the leader in the clubhouse after Jonathan Smith got fired. Thought things could materialize like Tuesday, dare I say Wednesday. I didn't know it would be between cups of coffee here.
No.
That was pretty fast for a breakup, I would say. It's clear that Michigan State, they've had this idea for quite some time here. That explains the lawn silence, and we're going to get to more of that. But Maxwell, help me form my opinion here, because on the last show that we just did a few hours ago, I said that if it is Pat Fitzgerald, I would be like a 5 out of 10. I would be right in the middle. So I went over to Twitter and I threw out a poll. I said, hey, guys, thumbs up or thumbs down for Pat Fitzgerald. You only get to pick one. We had 2,600 votes at the time of recording, 71% thumbs up, 29% thumbs down. I had some people that say, hey, give us like an in-the-middle option. No. Only I get to do that.
We don't do that here. We don't do that
I
here.
get to do that. Maxwell, thumbs up or thumbs down? Where are you at? Are you liking this soon-to-be hire, it seems? Or, that's a sigh. That was a long sigh. Okay.
So I can't avoid it because it's on the internet, and you can't lie on the internet. Back in October, if you remember, I think it was post UCLA loss. It looked like we were done with the Jonathan Smith era. Yeah. And I put out on a Substack post, coaching candidates carousel, it is, just recently Franklin was gone, and I had a section of coaches called Hear Me Out, and Pat Fitzgerald was on that list.
Okay. Positive. Okay.
Positive. He was on the list of people you would call about the Michigan State opening. I very explicitly said, you only call Pat Fitzgerald. You do not hire Pat Fitzgerald.
Ooh,
I really can't wriggle out of this. I did follow that up today with the recent news and going, okay, I am on record saying this would be a disastrous hire.
That was old you, though. You've aged. You've matured.
But within a week, I have to talk myself into how this works. Well, it's time to talk ourselves into how this is going to work. Because
on your feet, everyone.
I will never openly tank a regime, a tenure, because what's the point of that? Like, that's not why we're fans. We always root for the success of Michigan State sports. He has a contract with Michigan State. We don't know the terms of that contract yet, but we're going to have no choice but to support him if it's 18 games or if it's 80 games, we're going to be having to support him either way. We're going to figure out why or how this is going to work. But for your sake of your poll, I was thumbs down because I needed to stay consistent with what I put out on in the World Wide Web. So
I am fascinated with how varying the opinions are. And there are some people in my life, in much vulgar terms, said that they're done with Michigan State football if this is the hire. Now, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, I got people, my father's one of these people included here, text me that this is a home run hire from Michigan State. So people are all over the map here. Some people absolutely love it. Some people absolutely hate it. Many people are just kind of in the middle, like myself, because there are things that, well, I do have concerns about. I want to get to those later. Mm-hmm. But as we are in the period of trying to erase what you wrote in that Substack a few weeks ago, let's talk about the positives here, because I think that there certainly are. Like, I don't think you have to talk yourself too much into looking at these being the positives in life. Like, he's a regional guy. Obviously, we saw that matter in a sense with Jonathan Smith. That was far from the only issue, but it's a guy that knows the Big Ten. He knows Michigan State. He knows the rivalries, the recruiting, yada, yada, yada. He had success at Northwestern, and I don't think that can be understated what he did there. 17 seasons. He went to 10 bowl games, 3 10-win seasons. Yes, the last few years, we'll get to that. Mm-hmm. Not the most shining of them, but that was also in an era where the transfer portal was just starting up in 2021 and 22. I don't think Northwestern was necessarily a program that was designed to thrive right off the jump in the transfer portal era. He's taken some time away, and we can also get to why he took some time away later. There are a lot of things we got to get to here. But in that time, can it remind you of your basketball coach that we always root for in the winter, a guy that was kind of reluctant about this whole ever-changing landscape of college, had some strong opinions, but has now maybe manufactured a way to get behind it? And, well, if he's going to get this major donor support that we've kind of been alluding to on this show, and that Justin Thin also talked about as well on 24/7 Sports, you can make this work. I think it raises the floor for Michigan State. I think it brings stability. I like what I see right there, just on that alone. What do you like as the biggest positive, though, from Pat Fitzgerald? Or do I have to like circle back in a few weeks as you're still trying to parse things out here? Yeah.
Some of this stuff really will be a circle back in a few weeks thing. Mm-hmm. For me, obviously, what you already touched on with the Midwest recruiting ties, right? You know, him being Northwestern alum, being at Northwestern as the head guy there for as long as he was, like, that does matter. And we've already seen anecdotally here and there, you know, former players coming and speaking out on his behalf, you know, people getting texts from personnel people, you know, saying like, you know, this is a really good hire and things like that. And I think an underwritten note of maybe why the Smith tenure never really got off the ground, and where that Midwest recruiting ties really did hurt Smith was, it seemed like when Smith came in that like Tucker and co were not really hitting the high schools hard in the area.
Not necessarily.
They really undersold like the relationship building that Smith's tenure had to go through, and I think that's something with Fitz, like, we don't have to necessarily worry about. You know, he can go into the Iowas and the Wisconsins and the Indianas, Illinois and Ohio's and even Michigans of the world, and recruit this footprint, because he knows this footprint. He is, you know, pure Big Ten. You know, when the number 11 was in the Big Ten logo, that's how long he's been
Old
around
school,
the
baby.
conference.
That's right.
So that's obviously the biggest, you know, that positive too. And again, we'll definitely touch on the level of success that this identity had, but you know, Fitz as a linebacker in the Big Ten, there is going to be an identity with this team, and that was something I think we were really squinting to try to find under Jonathan Smith. I think you will get a very, you know, hard-nosed focus on the defensive side of the ball. And that really is the biggest thing, you know, in a tenure to point to. You know, if Smith was doing something relatively well, especially on one side of the ball, we could really point to it and be like, okay, you know, the offense is progressing really well and we're gelling there. So we maybe only have to do a couple of tweaks in the defense, and maybe these close losses turns to win. We didn't have that. So hopefully with Fitz, we will have that. But again, it's just, that's all almost, you know, pie in the sky, very conceptual stuff. It's where the rubber meets the road is where I have a lot of the concerns. And that's why I initially was kind of like, don't love this move if we go in that direction. That's why currently, as of today, I'm still a thumbs down on the hire. If I had to rate it 1 through 10, I would be 3 to 4.5 is probably where I'd be sitting right now. So
let's talk about those concerns, because I have some. A lot of listeners, a lot of viewers do. I mean, you apparently do. How could you, Maxwell? Come on, we're supposed to just blindly greenlight everything around these parts. What's wrong with you? Come on. But first, guys, you need to tuck your ears off about some good holiday shopping options, and that starts with Omaha Steaks. That's right, guys. I mean, it is just tender, juicy steak. It makes hosting so much easier. It makes just weekday dinners so much easier, guys. The holidays always feel special when you already know the perfect gift. And Omaha Steaks, yeah, guys, that is the perfect gift, because they make it just a little too simple sometimes. So simple you can't believe it. Whether you're treating yourself this season or you're sending something memorable to family and friends, it's Omaha Steaks that are delivering handcrafted perfection right to their door. And this is the best week to get in on the action, because, well, yeah, their cyber sale, it's here, guys, and the deals are huge. The quality is exactly what you hope for, what you expect from Omaha Steaks year in and year out. It's incredible tender steaks, rich flavor, meals that make hosting or just a weekday dinner by yourself all the easier, guys. And hey, save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites during their cyber sale. And for an additional $35 off, use promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code COLLEGE. Terms apply. See site for details. Also, gang, hey, game time. That's not a bad idea for a holiday gift. How about some tickets to a Michigan State basketball game? Well, if you want to go to this weekend's Duke game, hey, guys, they're going to have some flash deals. That is a pricey ticket. Save some money over at Gametime. Or, hey, if you want a January ticket, February ticket, still not too early to save. Their flash deals are always there for you, so you can save money on tickets. Or let's say you're just a last-minute person. As you're walking up to Breslin Center, you don't have tickets, and you realize, oh, hey, I should probably get around to that. You can still save with their last-minute ticket options, guys. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets. And, I mean, it goes beyond sports. Concerts, comedy events, World Cup matches, of course, guys. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege. That's all one word, LOCKEDONCollege, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket go. Download Gametime today. Now let's drag him back out. Here it is, good friend of the program, Maxwell Klitsky, and let's go through some concerns that I have. And, of course, you get the baggage, right? He had that hazing scandal at Northwestern. Former player came out and said this, and that happened. Fitzgerald had to have known about it. Him and the school settled, right? And Fitzgerald said he feels 100% vindicated. The facts are the facts. I personally, call me lazy. I don't want to get too far into the weeds with that, because that seems like a he said, she said sort of ordeal that got sorted out. Maybe I'll get buried for that. I don't care right now in the moment. We'll have plenty of time to talk more about that. The last 2 years, though, on the field, 3 wins followed by 1 win. We talk a lot about good Pat Fitzgerald seasons, how he went above and beyond at Northwestern, where the academic standard is much higher than anywhere else in the Big Ten. And how can you win there? Well, he didn't even meet the low bar that was set for Northwestern in those last few years. Now, Maxwell, this is my biggest issue right now. Tell me if you've got one bigger than this. And I love that former Michigan State players are coming out and saying that this is a great hire. I know Chris Fry, he was really enthused about this on Twitter. Andrew Dowell said that him and his brother were committed to Pat Fitzgerald before the MSU offer came in. They love the guy. There's a lot of good energy amongst former players, guys that played in the D'Antonio era. So here's my issue. This not like no current players are even connected to this guy. And I'm not just talking about inside of Michigan State's locker room. This isn't a situation like Curt Cignetti where he's rolling up with 16, 18, 20 of his players at his former stop. Or like Jonathan Smith just did, rolling up with your 4-star quarterback, your stud tight end, a really good offensive lineman. Like, that's not happening. This guy's been out of the game for 3 years. He's going to have to just get everything from the portal with guys that he has no real connection with. And I'm not stupid. Money talks. This could also not be an issue because, well, if Michigan State's going to drop some bags, who really cares in the grand scheme of things? I just like having the safety net that, okay, this guy has come from a James Madison. This guy's come from a South Florida. You get my point. That's kind of my biggest issue is that, he's been a while for a little bit. And the last time he was around here, that was 4 combined wins in the last 2 seasons. Are we entirely sure that this is going to pop off?
Yeah. So again, like I said, with some of the pros, like they're all very conceptual. It's where like the actual numbers and like the object of the exercise of coaching college football is to win football games.
Ideally,
that is not something that Pat Fitzgerald had done in his last 2 years of coaching college football, which for the record was 2021 and 2022. And famously in 2022, he did not win a game on U.S. soil. That one win came as the Aer Lingus kickoff game in Ireland against Scott Frost's Nebraska team.
Lordy. Can I add one more thing about the season too? 6 of their last 8 games of the season, they did not score double-digit points on offense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know Pat Fitzgerald, defensive guy. Like, I understand everyone's got their own side of the ball. That's still damning, though, for anyone. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so 4-20 his last 2 seasons at Northwestern. And since 2019, do you want to take a stab at how many AP top 25 wins they had?
Oh, since what year again?
2019.
I don't want to take a stab because it's going to make me sad. Give me 2?
1.
Oh, God.
He's 1-11.
Okay.
And just
that sounds like us. Wow.
And just to top this all off, we say, Fitz doing more with less. What we found with the Joe Rossi hire at times this year was like the Big Ten West merchant allegations coming.
Possibly.
To be fair, I went all the way back to 2014 since he was still a coach to see when they did the East-West split.
Love this.
He is 10-16 versus Big Ten East teams.
Okay.
And 2-10 since 2019.
You got any good numbers over there? You got any?
Not in this segment. No, I don't. The number. And see, this is part of my problem too with kind of making this hire is, conceptually I get it, right? Like, the whole leader of men thing, vibes are in the toilet. Bring in a guy that has like some energy, can give you an identity, but he wasn't doing well at Northwestern. And, the hazing scandal settled the way it did. Northwestern is, paying the money for his buyout because of this, because of the settlement. Kind of raises questions as to why Northwestern amplified and fired him for cause to begin with when they felt it was an airtight thing to fire him for a cause for all of this. Like, if he was coming off the 2018 season or the 2020 season where he was making the Big Ten title game, do you think really gets a push there? Because boosters in Evanston really loved Pat Fitzgerald. And, I don't know if people remember, like, when he was fired, like immediately, the coaching staff, this was in fall camp of 2023, that staff, David Braun's like first instance of that staff was having his own assistants wear like in solidarity with Pat Fitzgerald t-shirts. Like this guy was very beloved. And I think that will show through when he's dealing with players and going into high schools and doing recruiting kids. He will have to answer for that. And I think he can enough to get people on board, at least the players and the coaches that matter. But this struck me as a case of like Northwestern trying to get rid of him for free, and they couldn't do it because he was doing so poorly. So, this is like I said, where a lot of the concerns in, and like you touch on too, I had it in my notes too. You can't bring over anybody. That's concerning too of staff building. Like, I'm seeing names getting floated around, but like, I'm going to hold off on that because it takes, weeks up to upwards of a month. It'll be the new year by the time we actually see the full vision of the staff, who's being retained, who's coming in, and we can have a conversation about how under or overwhelmed I am with that. But it just struck me as like, Batt made this hire, not under duress per se, but I put it out on Twitter too. My gut feeling is that Batt did not want to have to get in the coaching cycle.
No shot
at all.
Yeah.
And this was his way of, making the change and not having to get into the cycle. I bet he would have loved to fire Jonathan Smith the second week of October in 2026. But this situation became so untenable, like with the fan base, and I'm sure with the donor class as well, that he couldn't afford to wait any more time. And he had to make this decision, and it's a choice, and we have to now support it. And it sounds like the donors are at least on board with it, which is a positive news. Rumored a large donation coming, apparently. We'll see what that sum is and who that comes from. Wasn't tied to Fitz being hired, which is good to know that we have some independence there. But, we're going to really need to see, spending in the portal. And I'm talking like Texas Tech level. What do you mean you're spending this amount of money on guys in the portal level spending for this to get off the ground? Because we saw what happened. Modest approach the first couple of years of the Smith tenure, and it didn't get us off the ground, and we were clamoring for a new coach 16 games into the season.
That leads perfectly into the next topic I want to bring up is what do you have to see in the next week or 2 weeks or a month? You could extend this question as long as you want. You're the guest. You make the house rules around here now when you step into Locked On Spartans. But in the short term, what would you have to see? Because I've got a few written down. The first one, how do I say this nicely? There's no way I could say this nicely. There's not a ton of players that I'm going to be just dying for to be on this roster still going into next season. I could probably count it on one hand, maybe two hands if I'm in a good mood. But on one of those hands is Alessio Milivojevic. I would love to keep him around as quarterback. I've said on the last few episodes, whenever we've talked about him, I think at worst he could be an average Big Ten quarterback. I really loved what I saw from him. Young kid behind a otherwise horrendous offensive line. I thought that he showed a lot of poise, accuracy, quick processing, yada, yada, yada. Now, what was tweeted today by his dad after the firing was, quote, 1,000% do not agree with this move. Now, that was about firing Smith. That was not about Pat Fitzgerald. I don't know their thoughts on that, but safe to say that they wanted Smith to stay around, as did many other players. So I do wonder what kind of retention you're going to get. Are you going to keep Jordan Hall, Nick Marsh, these other guys that you do want to keep around? That's one thing I want to see here in the next week or two is what's this going to be? And you could also tie in recruiting and signing day as well. The other thing, Maxwell, is what you just kind of said. There's this big donation coming. It's the worst kept secret now at this point. What we don't know is that dollar amount, how much will be allocated to football, where the money will be spent between NIL. Is it just going to be money that everyone has these days? Or is it going to be that Texas Tech amount where it's you're going to pay a guy $1 gazillion trillion to play one season for you? That's what I'm just fascinated to see. Because I've said it, hey, if they brought Smith back and said, we'll financially back him, I don't know how much that moves the needle for me. Because it seems like every Big Ten team is just financially backed now these days to a certain point. But if it's outer space money that we're talking, how could you not raise an eyebrow at that? So that's the two things. What kind of players are we retaining here? What do they think of Pat Fitzgerald? What kind of money are we actually dealing with here? Fascinating to know that here in the very near future. Is there anything that's really getting your goat here about the next few weeks?
Everything that I kind of would be looking for is kind of stuff we already touched on. Definitely, player retention and obviously with early signing day come up, we're already seeing recruits, tweet out, hey, we're still committed. Or, in Zachary Washington's case, he's still committed, but opening up my recruitment to early signing day, which is okay. I get it. There's a transition. 100%. You can say you're still committed, but opening it up, giving those finalists a last chance crack at it to be hey, or even, that signal to Fitz to be hey, you need to sell me on still coming here. But for the most part, I'm seeing a lot of positive, guys keep staying locked in and everything. With the Milivojevics, I get it, right?
Sure. Yeah.
He's he got his start. He had a Ball State. He was committed to Ball State, and then the staff identified him and brought him in and then gave him the keys to the offense. Mm-hmm. And realistically, outside of some execution stuff and, offensive line play, we saw flashes of what Milivojevic can be, and spiritually a private Catholic school kid from Illinois seems like the fit to be a quarterback at Michigan State. So, the one big thing here that I had, which is a solidified QB1 going into 26. I don't want to deal with, open competition during winter, or, even with fall camp. We can't afford doing that. Right. Just especially with a new staff, like you got to lock in and be on one guy. And that really comes to, who is Fitzgerald bringing in as far as, offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, are we retaining Waz? Are we retaining Hawkins again? Like kind of all these staff moves, really need to see how these domino pieces fit together. The big elephant in the room is like, okay, are we getting Max Bulla as our DC? Are we giving him the keys finally? I don't love that. Yeah. I would too, but like it just seems like one of those. It just seems like a bit now at this point where it's
what it is. It's the new age Phil Parker. Like Phil Parker for the last decade has been rumored to be MSU defensive coordinator,
and we're still playing the Phil Parker bit, especially now with this Fitz hire. It's like, oh well, and it's like, guys, let it go. If it'll happen, it'll happen. But like, we can't keep clamoring and getting upset when it doesn't happen, right? So like getting a serious staff together again, spending in the portal seriously, because, if you're not pulling through half your roster from your previous school, you need to bring in guys as mercenaries to prove proof of concept. And proof of concept is something we didn't have with Jonathan Smith. And, he tried to build it from the ground up and be like, hey, but you need in this era of college football, you need games in year one to point to be like, hey, this is what it should look like. Here's the prototypical guys we want at these positions. And then, it signals to, high school recruiting world, signals to like the portal of the type of guys that we're looking for here. So that's something, you have to overpay for in the beginning. You need hired hands and hired guns to kind of do your dirty work to get the heavy lifting done. So that way, when you have guys that are, sophomores or juniors or freshmen, currently, so the time the mercenaries are gone, it's their time to, get developed and play up. So those are really the three big things that we had. I mean, it's kind of all similar to what you touched on, but it's stuff that, we got to see it. We can't talk about this. Like, I'm not sold on, Fitz going on a podcast and giving PR spiel about like, oh, I'm ready and amped up for like the portal. You got to see it. I got to see the spending. I got to see you being serious about being like, hey, I'm really okay with, even though I tried to, force my hand at union busting like players. I'm actually really cool with them getting paid, not only for their image and likeness, but like the university cutting them checks.
We can all change.
We
can all change.
I got to see proof that he's really good with that. So, I'm willing to be wrong in thinking that this could be a disastrous hire, but if not, we've set the standard that we will can a coach 18 games into their tenure. So
that's right. We will fire a coach after a win. Yeah, you think that's going to stop us? That's a big boy material.
Yes. So the gauntlet's been pretty well laid down of where we're at. Not only just as a fan base, but as a university administration as well. So
I just have severe whiplash. I mean, one half hour I'll think, screw it. Like, this is the guy. I mean, he's firing up donors. I mean, this guy walks in with some strong leadership, and hey, he's had some good seasons in the past. And then the next half hour I'll think, good point, Maxwell. He didn't win a game on American soil the last time he was a coach, and that was 3 years ago, and that could be an issue. But then again, money speaks, and we could have some money here. I don't know if there's like oil derricks going up in East Lansing and we got that kind of money, but whatever it is, we're going to hear about it, I think, in the very near future.
The new Permian Basin has been found in Bath Township, so we're going to be sitting pretty for eons to come. So
black gold just coming out of the soil here in DeWitt. That's right. We are flush with cash here. Maxwell, can't thank you enough, man. I mean, this has been quite the whirlwind, from the game, from the firing to the, oh my God, they're already going to make the hire seemingly. So it's awesome to talk about, not just with anyone, But someone that I just love talking ball with. It's been way too long. Sorry, it's been so long since we had you on the show. But
we just got to keep firing coaches and have me coming on.
We just got to keep the cogs turning in the machine.
Before we close out.
Okay.
By like 1:30, what were you feeling? Because it was kind of like
PM like 1:30 p.m. today on Sunday.
You had heard whispers and being like, yeah, it's like, guys, we're good here. It's gonna happen. But like, 9:45 rolls around, 11 o'clock rolls around, noon rolls around, 1 o'clock NFL games kick off, 1:30, nothing.
I mean, like Alex Golish, who I thought was already at Arkansas, he's going to Auburn all of a sudden. Memphis is shipping away a coach. Lane Kiffin is on
doing whatever.
Put at the airport, just living his best life, dude. 1:30 today, Maxwell. I was getting pretty upset. Like, I have a life to live. I'm holding my family hostage and decorating the Christmas tree because I said, look, I know what's happening today. I just don't know when, and I got to be able to roll at the drop of a hat. So, sorry to make it about like my personal and work life, but like, hey, does anyone want to say anything? Right now and just get on with the show here? Like,
can I go shovel snow, or am I gonna miss something here? Because like, what are we doing, guys?
So, as if like the weeks leading up to this of silence weren't agonizing enough. Like, let's just bleed this into Sunday afternoon.
No, we were all waiting for that Pete the Mail tweet because when it's time to break wide receiver 3 and right guard 4. Injury news.
No one better.
The dude is on it. He has it before anyone else. But he is 3.5 hours late to firing and hiring news.
Disgraceful.
What are we doing, Pete?
He fascinates me. That is the most fascinating follow on Twitter. That's it. He will tell you what Big Dooley had for lunch before the game, but letting just the world know that. Oh, by the way, it's Fitzgerald.
We think it might be Fitz. We think it might.
I can't make sense of it. The most fascinating cat in the college football landscape, just breaking massive news, and also the most minor injury news about Michigan State football imaginable. And for that, we thank him. So. Maxwell, thanks a lot for asking that question, though. Appreciate you.
Because I know it was something I was feeling. Good. I figured everybody else was feeling it too, so I had to just get your pulse on it too.
Or it crept to my mind. It's like, did Jonathan Smith excel himself back in this meeting with J Batt that they had? Like, did he do the impossible?
He's like, okay, I'll get rid of Lindgren. I'll get rid of Brian.
I'm gonna screw this up. Oh my God, who was the coach for the Indianapolis Colts? It was Jim Irsay. They were gonna fire him, and they had like this emotional tear-filled meeting together.
Was it
start with a P? Oh my God, this is horrible ball knowledge right here. Oh, Chuck, thank you. Colts.
Chuck Pagano.
I was gonna say Pagano, but that was not right. Yeah. Pagano. I thought that one of those situations was going on. That entered my mind. Like, they're both embracing right now in tears, like telling each other it can and it will work here, and that's why we haven't heard anything yet. But
it's like no team meeting announced. No, none of that. I was like, okay, guys, what are we doing? So,
but it's here, and I'm bummed about it. Like, Jonathan Smith, by all accounts, and you've heard it from the players, and obviously, some player parents too. All around great guy. I am really bummed it didn't work, not just for my own selfish fandom, but I think his heart was in the right place. It's just it doesn't
Sometimes
work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work, and it doesn't make you a bad person or like the worst thing we've ever seen. Like, I know portions of this year were bad, but like we saw writing on the wall, we saw 38-0 Minnesota in 2022. Like, you can't fool me that anything in 2023 that we saw anything we saw then was not worse than this year. Like, I can't do some of the hyperbole sometimes, and like I get when you're in it, it feels different, but like it's okay to say it's just not working, and that's fine. Like, it's bad, it's not acceptable, but it's not the worst thing you've ever seen. So
that was my whole crux. Is like, is 2 years enough to build a program from the ground up? No, largely no. Yes, it can happen. It has happened, but no, especially for all the issues that he inherited, which I'm not going to do that whole spiel again. I've done it 1,000 times in the last months. But I also think that 2 years is enough of a sample size to realize where things are going And it didn't even seem like we were getting closer to any identity. It didn't seem
no
like
proof, no
buy-in was happening. I mean, so yeah, I'm bummed. I'm not like, throwing confetti in the air, popping champagne, saying, yes, thank God he's gone. No, it had to happen. And not like he died, but like it's a little bit of a somber attitude to have. But I wish him well. I'm glad that he's getting that full buyout. Michigan State, it came out. They aren't even going to like fight it or try to settle. Like he's getting all that cash.
Nope. Good for him.
Good for him. So, but also, feel for the staffers, feel for the lower level employees. Obviously, like they're not getting $33 million in a buyout. No. So, look, days like today suck, but like it's also fascinating how fast all this happened with the Fitzgerald news. I mean, we had our hunch that it could happen. Lordy, but before dinner was even on the table,
yeah,
though?
Seriously.
My God, did not think that would be the case. So thanks a lot for jumping on the show on short notice. I usually like to plan these things a few days out, but Maxwell is here in a few hours' notice, guys. So shout out to the one, the only Maxwell Klitsky. You're the best, man. Much appreciated. Guys, the viewers, the listeners, we will be back. I'm not kidding when I said it earlier on the last show. We might be doing 10 episodes this week. Who knows? We're going to talk with Alan True of 24/7 Sports about recruiting tomorrow. We got a basketball game on Tuesday, they might actually make the Fitzgerald thing official this week. This donation's going to happen. Duke's coming to town. Like I said on the last show, I will be chained to this webcam and microphone for the whole week. I don't even know if I'll see my kids. My wife may have just very well gone up and left me finally. Good for her. She deserves it. All right, guys, until next time, take care of yourselves. Love you all. Go green.